My friend of 45 years.
Haley.
Hello, Senator Mark Warner. How are you? You're only half a face. You have to kind of lean in on Tim. Tim, it was great talking to you.
So how
Hey,
you doing?
thank you for doing this. I'm telling you, I don't think most Americans understand what budget reconciliation really is. But when you think about the Republican budget, we want people to remember, not just the people of Virginia where you and Tim represent, but like the entire country, to be considering where these massive cuts to public services and industries are going to go, who it's going to hurt, because it's really not just about fraud and waste. And as much as we hear that, that's not what we're
It's not
doing.
about fraud and waste at all.
Yeah, we're trying to find a way to, fund tax cuts for the ultra rich. That's the point, right?
It is about that, and I think people are going to push back. I mean, we've already seen community health centers in Virginia shutting down. Tim and I had this call, an outward bound call. We normally get 3,000 or 4,000 people. We had 71,000 people on it last week. People are freaking out. And I think we're going to start to see Republican elected officials say, hey, I thought he was going to lower groceries, Trump, not cut my community health center, or not, we've been working for bringing 1,000 jobs to this rural community in Southside Virginia. That's not going to happen with Trump freezing all this up. I was chair of the Intelligence Committee. We spent a lot of time trying to push back against Putin. Musk and his boys are out there either maliciously or stupidly, and people can make their choice, giving out classified information. They recently sent out 200 CIA agents who spent a year to get clearance and then another year training, and they mistakenly put it out on the wrong site that basically their identities could be identified. This is like,
Oh my gosh.
stuff.
Senator Warner, I have to tell you, I know we're supposed to be talking about budget reconciliation, and we are, but like between you and me, watching what is happening overseas right now and seeing America basically look like the bad guy, as someone who is in intelligence, how does that make you feel? Because I know everyone in our family just feels sick.
I was in Munich, where Vice President of the United States came and in the morning went to the concentration camp at Dachau, supposedly pay his respects. Then he came and trashed all the Europeans and the German government because they have rules that say, hey, after World War II and Hitler, we're not going to let crazy right-wing parties in because we saw what happened. And conservative and liberal parties alike in Germany. He trashed the German government. Then that night, he went and had basically dinner with the far-right German neo-Nazi party.
Yeah.
And man, like I have to say, even my Republican friends who were there, like, going, man, shit, this is not our country. This is not who we are. I know some other senators, they went to Ukraine after we went to Germany, where we'd helped provide assistance to this class in Poland. They had to take down the American flag because we cut off the aid with no warning. So this is not who we are. I mean, not to sound over the top, but the rest of the world always looked to our country. They thought Americans are a little bit goofy, but in a pinch, you would want nobody better than the Americans to be on your side. And now it wasn't just the Europeans. My mom's family is all from Canada. We had the Canadian foreign minister say, we're never going to trust you again. And I don't think that represents the majority of Americans. It doesn't represent Democrats. I don't even think it represents the majority of Republicans.
Yeah,
That's
it's so
why we
true.
gotta raise our voices.
Yeah, and I think it's important for those of us who are at home to raise our voices with our communities and our friends and our families. But it's also good that you're in Congress talking to your congressional friends who are of the other party and saying, look, I understand that you're supposed to be towing the line for this president, but like, this is wrong. This isn't who we are, whether it's this terrible budget that's going to hurt the American people that we're talking about today, or whether it's our international policy that makes us into the bad guy when we know we're supposed to be the good guy. And I'm glad you guys are having that conversation, because I think sometimes out here we go, are you guys even talking to each other? Like, you have to help
Matter of
us.
fact, I make a joke. I work in the only place in America where being a gang member is a good thing. And that's because in the Senate, if you have a bipartisan group that get together, they call it a gang of this, gang of that. And so, under Biden, when we did the infrastructure bill, we tried to bring back semiconductors, or we tried to say, how do you prevent another January 6th? It was all bipartisan senators. So I've spent a lot of time. I've gotten grief from Democrats. Hey, you try to work with these guys too much. End of the day, you got to get stuff done. But it's been, man, I've been doing this for a while. It's been as hard as anything I've ever done. When they know some of this stuff is bad, they know we're undermining American security, and they won't speak up. And when they privately come and talk and say, well, we actually voted for this person even though she was not qualified, it's like, this is why we got to keep we keep talking. Be careful. There's a really loud mouth, slightly obnoxious senator coming in. You know,
That's not Cory
do
Booker.
not let Cory Booker take my screen time. Cover his face. Cover his face.
Get this face out of
Get that
here.
face out. I'm
Well, listen,
explaining National Security Center.
national security.
She's one of the smartest women I
she
know.
is.
She doesn't need you explaining.
She wanted to go nerd deep. I can go nerd deep.
I thought he was senator splaining to you, which is awful.